With I Am Legend and Cloverfield being box office hits, and an upcoming X-Files film, Iron Man, Hellboy 2, and Mummy Tomb of the Dragon Emperor coming out this year, science fiction is definitely at an all-time high. I want to take the personally time out to show my appreciation and my love for certain sci-fi franchises and things, and I want to start a conversation about what's good out there in science fiction. And of course, if we want to talk about good science fiction, you have to start with Star Trek. Even though I didn't really watch the original series, I did watch most of Star Trek The Next Generation, which many consider not to be a really good Star Trek show. I don't know, it was okay to me. The movies, I like the movies with the original cast. That was real good. Star Trek Generations, I hated that ending. Why did Captain Kirk have to die? That was lame. He was the best Starfleet captain of all time, and he died. And Captain Picard became his successor. That's pretty lame. Deep Space Nine I never really got into for the most part. I didn't hear good things about it. But Confused Matthew said that 2 seasons in particular were really good, and I had to check them out one day. Star Trek Voyager, I hate to say I'm guilty. I actually did watch Star Trek Voyager, but I stopped halfway through because I just got bored with it. And I didn't even dignify or even give the time of day to Star Trek Enterprise, which is not considered a real Star Trek show. Now let's go on to Star Wars. Now, Star Wars, the original trilogy, which I did see when I was a little kid, thanks to my grandparents taping it when they showed it on NBC one year. I was like 4 or something like that. And I did watch, the Ewoks movies. Star Wars is pretty enjoyable. That's a benchmark of my childhood. And when the prequels came out, I don't know what everybody was talking about. I didn't mind the prequels. I actually liked watching them. Sure, they don't quite have the same chemistry and magic that the originals had. But hey, I had to give it up because I wanted to see Anakin turn into Darth Vader. He's my favorite character in the whole story. I mean, a lot of people say, how can you love Darth Vader? Darth Vader's badass. Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader, both of them, they're badass. Battlestar Galactica. Now, this was a show that came out back in my stepdad's era. He used to tell me, back when he was younger, he used to watch that. But I never did. Even when it was on Sci-Fi Network for a minute, I never did watch the original. Now, the new one, I like watching the new one. The new one is off the chain. For some reason, it reminds me of Robotech a little bit. That doesn't make any sense. Moving on. Babylon 5. I've never watched Babylon 5. I haven't heard much about it. One thing I did hear about it was that at one point it was canceled, but fans petitioned and they came back for like 1 or 2 more seasons. I'm not real sure about what Babylon 5 was about. I think it was about a space station of some sort or something. I'm sorry, I'm totally ignorant of it. I'm not bashing anything. I just didn't get a chance to watch it. And of course, Stargate SG-1. Now this is a show I love. One thing, I saw the movie before I watched the TV series, of course. At first, when I watched the TV series, I was sort of skeptical about it. I thought it was just a hokey way of trying to cash in into a good film. I thought it was just a ploy because for some reason they couldn't make a movie sequel, so they decided to go the other route and make a TV series. And 10 years flew by, and I was wrong. I was wrong as wrong could be. Stargate SG-1 was a tight show. I didn't agree with Richard Dean Anderson leaving the series. I thought that kind of sucked, but hey. Even when he left, they still had a solid cast and a good plot line, and it was exciting every episode. It was pretty good. And of course, being a fan of science fiction, I had to talk about the Sci-Fi Network. Now, I first discovered this back when I was like 11, 12 years old, and it was almost by accident, because one Saturday morning, I was flipping through channels. All of a sudden, they were showing anime. Now, the first anime I watched on Sci-Fi Network was called Project A-ko. I don't know if anybody remembers that. It's sort of obscure, and if you're curious about it, what it is, look it up. And also, used to show this OVA called Dominion Tank Police, which I really thought was really cool, but never did finish because they only made like 2 episodes of that, and And every other Saturday or once a month they'll have anime Saturday morning. But eventually they stopped doing it, like they do with any great set of programming. They just stopped showing it. And for the most part, Sci-Fi Network is great. Now, in general, as science fiction as a whole, I'm a big fan of science fiction. And, there's talk of them making a new Star Wars television series, which I think would be pretty cool, depending on where to go with it. There's talk about it happens right after Revenge of the Sith. I maintain the stance, if you're going to make a Star Wars TV series, you should do it outside of the main storyline. Sort of like they do the games, or like even like some of the novels or the stories that happen, centuries before the events of the Galactic Empire and stuff like that. It'd be better to make a Star Wars series using that group of stories. That way you won't be dabbling with main continuity and confusing fans, and fans are all about continuity. So it'd probably be better if you did that. As far as Star Trek goes, they're making a new Star Trek movie. I don't know why, man. I mean, Jesus. For real, I mean, Jesus. I mean, like, they've beaten Star Trek to death. You might as well just make a new show. I guess once that Disaster Enterprise came out, they said that's it, no more Star Trek on TV, so they're gonna go back to the old one. I don't know. Stargate, they're gonna do straight to DVD movies with that, which I'm real excited about. Battlestar Galactica still on. One of these days I'm gonna get the DVD box set and look at it. Babylon 5, I don't know. And pretty much that's all I got to say about good sci-fi. Now, if anybody watches my video, I know I don't have a lot of pictures and I know it's kind of boring. I'm learning how to make these videos as I go along. But for the most part, I wanted to start a commentary about what good sci-fi, science fiction is out there and what should I start getting into. Because lately I've been slacking off. I've been mostly on the internet. I haven't been watching any good science fiction lately. And I just want to know what's out there. So post comments, video responses or whatever, and just let me know. Thanks for listening.